everyone, and welcome back to another sensational science video. Now, first of all, just want to say, apologies for the long wait. I know it's been a long time since another sensational science video came out. It was like 2 weeks since black holes came out. But anyway, chin up, this video is here. So, today we're going to be talking about, well, the first topic that I've done on this channel that is not about space. It's the coronavirus, and this is what has been killing many people over, how long has it been? Over this period of time. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about the history of coronavirus, how it's been developing, and many other stuff about this virus. Now, before we begin, please subscribe to this channel to see more of these interesting videos. These are very informative and you need to know about them so then you can stay safe from these deadly viruses. But anyway, let's get started with this video. Now, as you can see there, it says presented by Sensational Science. Not the virus, it's the presentation, alright? Got that? Good. Let's start this presentation. Coronavirus, as you might expect, has developed over the years since its first discovery in the 1930s. It grew and enhanced itself to this date. The first being it infected was a chicken. The disease it caused on the chicken was known as infectious bronchitis virus, or IBV. It had trouble breathing, obviously, the virus being a kind of pneumonia. The first time coronavirus struck on a human was in the 1960s. The coronavirus is very similar to influenza in terms of appearance. Inside the virus is the genetic material which enables the virus to grow in the body. A protein shell protects the genetic material. There is another layer on top of the protein shell which allows it to merge with the cells in the body. And lastly, what you probably see the most is the spikes sticking out of the virus. This gives the virus access to go inside the cell. Why is it called the coronavirus? This is because the spikes projecting from the outer membrane of the virus look like crown spikes. Corona is the Latin word for crown, so combined, the word becomes coronavirus. Coronavirus is a pneumonic virus, so it spreads like most other illnesses, such as influenza, or, as you might call it, the flu. Here are the different possible ways: breathing on somebody else's coughing or sneezing, touching a surface that somebody has put the virus on, like if somebody has coughed or sneezed on it, and then if you touch it and then touch a possible place where you can catch the virus, or basically your face. And there are many more ways, so for more detail, just search on the web. Now, COVID-19, despite what you heard about, is not actually the virus itself. It's the disease caused by the coronavirus. There are different types of coronavirus over the years. For example, the name of the virus that happened in Asia 2003 was called SARS-CoV. Now, the name of the virus that causes the infection of COVID-19 is called SARS-CoV-2. Since it is basically a second stronger version of the 2003 virus. Now, talking of SARS-CoV, we are going to include that in this slide. This is quite a big slide, so bear with me. Firstly, there was the SARS infection. That was the first main outbreak of coronavirus. So, this took place in Asia 2003, as I said before. The virus was known as SARS-CoV. Over 8,000 people were infected and 774 of them died. Now, the second main outbreak was called MERS, which stands for Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. You should know where it happened. I'll give you a clue. It's in its name. So this happened in 2012, 2015 and 2018. That's right, there were 3 main periods. However, just under 2,500 people were infected by the virus. However, this virus seemed to be more deadly, so 860 people died. The virus itself was called MERS-CoV. Now, the third outbreak is the one that we're dealing with right now. The COVID-19 which just basically means coronavirus disease, pandemic, and pandemic means world spread virus. This started at the end of 2019 and hasn't ended yet, if you're watching this in August 2020, which is the time this video has been released. Anyway, this being a pandemic is clearly the most serious outbreak yet. There are 19.7 million people infected with the virus and 12 million of them recovered, but 728,000 of them didn't make it. Now, you might notice the plus sign after all of those numbers. This is because, like I said before, this video was published on the 11th of August, so these are the numbers that are current. There might be more in the future, unfortunately. So for more info about the stats, follow this link. It's a Wikipedia to go to the coronavirus section. You can't click on it because it will be in the description. Anyway, coronavirus will most likely travel to a throat or lung cell in the body when it enters it. So when this happens, it can create more copies of itself, but I will talk about that in more detail later. Now, when the virus does get to the lungs, it will get past to the alveoli. So usually the immune system will catch other viruses in the mucus lining the bronchioles, which is the smaller tubes coming out from the bronchi, which is connected to the trachea, and then the mucus will be expelled by sneezing or coughing. However, the immune system would be weakened in the case of a coronavirus infection, so the alveoli will swell up, and then it could fill up with fluid, making it harder to breathe, which makes it harder for the body to be oxygenated, the blood in the body. The fluid may fill up so badly that pneumonia may happen, which could affect most of the lungs or just a fraction of it. Once the coronavirus enters the body, the virus will travel to a cell in the body. That is definitely going to happen. So the spikes on the outer membrane will connect with a receptor on the cell membrane. This will allow the virus to go inside a cell. So the coronavirus uses ribosomes in the cell to make more copies of itself. A typical flu virus would go straight to the nucleus. It would order the ribosomes to generate certain sections of the virus, and the outside of the virus will float on the cell membrane, and when the virus is made, it will float off, attaching to the spikes, and then it will continue its journey to attack the body. Breathing may become so difficult if the coronavirus gets worse in the body that you'll have to go into hospital for intensive care. This is why all of the hospitals are so busy, obviously. During intensive care, you'll be put on the bed with a ventilator if breathing becomes basically impossible for you. These machines are very important, as the difference between with or without one could be the difference between life and death. Scientists are developing the vaccine for a coronavirus, but there is already a way to hopefully prepare the body for a COVID-19 infection. Weaker versions of the coronavirus would be injected into the body. This virus will not be strong enough to kill, but it will be strong enough to make the body realise that it's coming, even though it technically will not attack the body that hard. So soon, cells in the immune system would make markers known as antibodies. These would be used to stop the virus from attaching to the cells. The immune system should be able to attack the virus until it's gone. So that means once this SARS-CoV-2 virus comes, the body should be ready to stop it. Hopefully. Can the virus attack animals? Yes, it can. So a few months ago, it was reported that a person in Hong Kong had the coronavirus. He also had a pet dog, and he passed it on to the dog. However, the chances of this happening are very rare, and after this, not many cases of animals catching the coronavirus have been reported. The most common way of a person dying from COVID-19 is actually from an extreme immune response to the virus rather than the virus directly killing the body. Sometimes when the virus enters the cell, parts of the cell called macrophages will send protein signals called cytokines. Certain cytokines may kill the cell. This is done to protect other cells from being attacked by the virus, but sometimes this is overdone. As more and more cytokines come, it will be known as a cytokine storm. This will cause the fluid to leak out of the alveoli and further kill tissue, which is basically a group of cells. This will become so bad that the lungs cannot recover and may therefore cause death. Here's a list of how you can stay safe from the virus. There are many more things you can do to stop this virus. This is just a brief list. So try to avoid people coughing and sneezing, definitely just like the person on that picture right there. Wear a face mask when you are in a public area, wash your hands more often, limit the times you touch your face, try your best to stay at home more often, don't touch every surface you see, and, of course, watch guides on this channel. It can really help. It will save you from other conditions as well. Anyway, so that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. To see plenty more of these science videos, I'll try to do more videos on other topics, such as viruses, rather than space, because I do know a lot about space, but of course everyone likes a change, don't they? Anyway, just discuss your thoughts in the comments below. And finally, stay safe everyone. Hope to see you next time for another video.